Hello, a pleasant morning to each and everyone. Welcome to the course, the teacher, and the school curriculum. So today we're going to talk about the module 7, which is the curriculum reforms in teacher education. So under this module is the lesson 7.1, which is the outcome-based education for teacher preparation curriculum. But before we proceed with our discussion, let me introduce first my teammates. So we are the group 7 and I am the first reporter. I am Monaliza Ongcol and together with me is Jerome Palahang and Miss Mabel Nieva. So now let us talk about what is outcome-based education or OBE. So what comes in your mind when you hear that word, or what are the ideas that you have? So aside from it is the outcome or the results, of course, because this is according to the needs of our students today. Basically, it's not what we want to teach, but it's what students must learn or should learn. So now let us know the definition from William Spady, 1994. So he defined OBE as clearly focusing and organizing everything in the educational system around the essentials for all the students to do successfully at the end of their learning experiences. So which means that we are shifting our focus. We're no longer focused on trying to finish everything that we need to finish at the end of the entire school year. Instead, our focus is that our students must learn or must achieve the outcomes or the goals that we have set for them. Because this OBE revolves around the essentials for all the students to be successful in the present and in the future. So, of course, to achieve this, it will start with a clear picture of what really is important for students to be able to do, be able to learn, be able to understand, be able to demonstrate at the end of the entire schooling so that the teacher can organize the curriculum, instruction, and assessment that is valid, reliable, and effective to make sure that learning happens. So, in order for us to help our students be a better individuals in their communities and at work. So that is the very essence of the OBE or outcome based education. And now we are down with the next slide. To define and clarify further, answers to the following questions should be addressed by the teacher. So these are the questions that the teachers must answer so they can effectively incorporate the outcome based education. So the first question is that what do you want the students to learn? Or what are the demands of today's society that the students must be aware or have expertise and knowledge with? What are the demands of today's society in order for the students to be successful in the present day? Right? And the second question is that why do we want students to learn these things? Or what are the essence or what are the importance of that particular aspect that the students must be aware of, must be knowledgeable, and must learn those things. So we're going to talk about the essentials or the essence of those things. And the third is how can we best help students to learn these things? So as a teachers, what is your strategies? What is your pedagogies that you're going to use so that students can easily comprehend or understand your topic or your lessons? Or what are the technologies that you're going to incorporate so that students can have fun in learning or have a better learning experiences? And the last one is how will you know when the students have learned? Of course, how would we know? By incorporating assessment and evaluation. In that way, we're going to know if there is improvement and development to the learning of the students. So now we're down with the four principles in OBE. So let us talk about these principles in OBE. Are you excited? Of course we are. So the first principle is that clarity of focus. So what is the principle all about? So, a clear focus on what teachers want students to learn is the primary principle in OPE. Take note. So, teachers should bear in mind that the outcome of teaching is learning. To achieve this, teachers and students should have a clear picture in mind of what knowledge, skills, and values must be achieved at the end of the teaching and learning process. So, basically, this principle emphasizes the importance of teachers having a clear understanding of what their students wants to learn. So this principle involves identifying the specific knowledge, skills, and values that must be attained at the end of the teaching and learning process. So by having a clear focus, the teachers can then plan the instruction and ensure that their efforts is directed towards the desired learning outcome. So that's it. And now let us know the second principle. So the second principle is designing backwards. So what is this principle all about? Let us know. So this principle is related to the first. Why? Because at the beginning of the curriculum design, the learning outcomes must be clearly defined. Of course, by deciding or before designing the curriculum, the teachers must first define the learning objectives or the learning outcomes, because outcome is defined as a wide range of skills and knowledge that must be completely measurable. So that's when the writing of our learning objectives comes into play. So have you still remember the how should we write our learning objective? It should be smart. What is smart? Specific, measurable, attainable, result oriented, and time bounded. So keep that in mind. And so it determines what the learning outcomes must determine what the student must learn, must be demonstrate, must understand at the end of the formal schooling. So once the learning outcomes is defined, so the teacher can then plan their strategies, instructions, and assessment to better achieve the outcomes or to help those students achieve those outcomes. So the planning, the implementing, and the assessing must always be connected according to this second principle, designing backwards. And now we are down with the third principle, which is the high expectations. So, establishing high expectations can be challenging. Standard of performance will encourage students to learn better. So, this is actually linked to the premise that successful learning promotes even more successful learning, as mentioned by Spady in 1994. So, this principle is parallel to the Thorndike's law of effect, which says that success reinforces learning, motivates, builds confidence, and encourage learners to do better. So, this the third principle emphasizes the teacher setting high standards of performance for the students, so that as so by having or by setting challenging standards, the students will be motivated, will be encouraged to strive for excellence. That is why this principle is related to the Thorndike's law or Edward Thorndike's law of effect, which says success reinforces learning, motivates learners, build confidence, and encourage learners to perform better. So now we are down with the the fourth principle, which is the expanded opportunities. So in OBE, students are expected to excel. Hence, equal expanded opportunities should be provided. As advocates of multiple intelligence, that says every child has a genius in him or herself, hence is capable of doing the best. So, are you familiar with the quote coming from John Dewey that says, education is not a preparation for life, but a life itself. So, which means that in this life, we must consider who we are and not the other's capabilities. Just because he is good at some aspect doesn't mean he is good at everything. And just because you are bad at something doesn't mean you're bad at everything. So, things like that. So, as a teacher, we must consider our learners. We must consider the multiple intelligence by Howard Gardner, that every child is special, every child is unique. And that is our rule as a teacher, to provide a differentiated instruction to to let our students experience a better learning that is equal, that advocates differences or diversity. That's it. So that's the essence of the fourth principle, which is the expanded opportunities or equal opportunities for all the students. So I guess this ends my part. I hope you have learned something from my topic. So that's all, and thank you for listening. Bye bye.